Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about the Birmingham real estate market. We're going to give the Corona update, going through week by week, every week of this crisis, and updating y'all on the weekly numbers and the statistics for the Birmingham market. These numbers come straight from our MLS, and I kind of organize them and hopefully gain some insights and keep a watch on what's happening in the market for all my clients, investors, agent friends, everybody that I work with. Try to keep us all in the loop and keep us all informed. So my name is Rob Drum. I'm an associate broker at eXp Realty here in Birmingham, Alabama. And I've got a blog at robert.h.drum. I'll put that in the description here, where I do a lot of this type of work, statistics and stories about the Birmingham market, and try to keep people educated and informed on what's happening. So if you subscribe on YouTube, I'm running a contest every week. If you subscribe on YouTube, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to your favorite local restaurant. I've got like 50 subscribers, so subscribe and make sure your visibility is turned on so I can see you to enter you in the contest. So make sure I'm able to see that you subscribed. And last week's winner was Isaac Carr. We need to get in touch and let me know where you want to get a gift card to, and I'll get that out to you. But let's get into the numbers. So there's something that I kind of picked up on in the numbers this week that I wanted to inform you all about, and it's something that in talking to realtors and seeing what's going on in the market, the numbers that we've been seeing weren't really making sense. So these closings for last week, these numbers in parentheses here, were really they were lower, a good bit lower in some cases than the same week last year, especially last week's numbers. We had 219 versus 423. And it just didn't make sense from what I'm hearing from other realtors and transaction coordinators, people who do a lot of closings and a lot of real estate business. So I looked back at it and I realized that when I take a snapshot of closings on a Wednesday, that includes that Wednesday, there's basically a whole day worth of closings that people have not uploaded. Some people may not change the status in MLS for a day or two. So these numbers can really change based on how far past you are. So when I look on the day of, there's a lot of closings that are happening that are not accounted for. So what I did is I went back and ran those same numbers again, and we had almost 100 more added to last week's count, which gets us pretty close, 75% of the way to the 2019 numbers. And that's a lot more compatible with what I've been hearing from other agents. And so this, really most of these weeks so far have been kind of right in line. This week, again, we're about halfway of what we saw last year. It'll be interesting to see if that comes up. It should come up at least some when I look back at it next week and update the values. I think it's still useful to kind of get that Wednesday look, but it's even more useful to go back and retroactively update what we're looking at here. And honestly, so talking to other realtors and people involved in the market all the time, they are, in just my own transactions, they're seeing a lot of pretty much business as usual. We're all taking precautions with cleaning and limiting the amount of people on showings, but there's almost every contract, they're beating out somebody. There's multiple offers. Properties are going under contract above list price. It's still really competitive, and there hasn't been a drop off in either listings. So here's our listing numbers for this Wednesday. and they are slightly up one from last week. So there's one more active listing. And these are the numbers of properties that are contingent or pending on MLS. And they are also up slightly. So there's still, and these numbers are really holding steady throughout this entire crisis. There's no big drop-offs. None of the things that I kind of was worried was going to happen. A lot of people were probably worried. And honestly, what happened in China, what has happened in other pandemics, in one of these videos, I referenced a Zillow research article that kind of summarized this real estate statistics from other pandemics. And there was a very sharp drop off in volume. And at this point, I don't know if we're going to see that. It doesn't seem like it. Maybe over the next month, maybe there will be a drop off. I just don't think it's going to look like a cliff drop off. I think maybe we're seeing a little bit. There's anecdotally, I mean, there's some deals where financing is being delayed because of furloughs and unemployment and things like that. But for the most part, things are kind of humming along, staying stable. And so these numbers really conform with what I'm hearing from other agents, what I'm seeing in the market on my own listings, and buyers that are making offers. So I never thought that we would see a drop off in prices, and it's looking like we may not even see that much of a drop off in volume, potentially because real estate has been declared an essential function. So we're all still out there working. So let's get into opportunities. There are $1,200 payments. The stimulus payments have started going out. I've heard of a number of people who have gotten them. I think it seems like most of them have filed 2019 tax returns, so that is probably helping to get your payment. And again, that's $1,200 per adult, $500 per child, and that phases out for singles at $75,000 of income, or couples at $150,000 of income. And they use your 2018 taxes if you filed those, and not 2019. If you filed 2019, they'll use those to determine that. So you can check your status at irs.gov, and then there's a little button that says Get My Payment, and you can enter your information from your tax returns, make sure it matches up, and they can hopefully tell you what's going on with your payment if you haven't gotten it yet. So that's great that those are starting to go out. That should provide relief to a lot of people. SBA loans are another big issue, especially for us that are self-employed, small business owners. EIDL was kind of a big promise, as far as they promised a $10,000 forgivable loan, or $10,000 forgivable advance on a loan. And that ended up being more like if you're self-employed, a $1,000 forgivable advance, which is a pretty big difference. Still, I have heard of some of those going out. I don't know anyone personally who has received one, but it does seem to be at least starting to get the money out, which is really pretty fast. I mean, I guess we're looking at 3 weeks from when they passed the law. So that's good. The PPP, Payroll Protection Program, that's another SBA program that's operated through your local banks, and that seems to be functioning pretty well. The bankers seem to be getting guidance on how to make these loans, and how to get the money out there. I applied for one, was approved. I think there's a little bit of underwriting that has to go through it, but there was a question last week whether you needed payroll to qualify for the PPP, like an actual payroll. And according to the law, you didn't, but as we know, it's not necessarily how it's written, but how it's implemented. And it does seem like self-employed 1099 contractors, all of us small business self-employed people will qualify for the PPP loans. So I think that's a really good thing. The bad thing is that if you haven't applied yet, you really need to get on it, because the money is rumored to be running out just based on how much interest they've had and how much they allocated for these loans. So, and that again is a good chunk of those loans is going to be forgivable, which is great. And there's a lot of information out there on how those work, but there should be more. So it may be running out, but there should be more coming. Congress will hopefully add to the amount that they've allocated for these loans, because they seem to be functioning really well and getting the money to the people that need it. And then another opportunity that is just kind of going around in my circles with a lot of people who invest in real estate is the opportunity that this will create for creative deal structuring, lease options, owner financing, those kind of things, where if a seller is willing to, wants to sell, and a buyer is qualified and knows how to operate these type of transactions, you can still get deals done, even though the capital markets for investors are pretty much locked up. They're not locked up for homeowners. So if you're looking to buy a home, those are functioning really well. I mean, for the most part, mortgages are getting done. As we saw in those statistics, there's still lots and lots of homeowner loans being made, but not necessarily the case for investors who have been doing transactions for the last couple of years. The way that they're financing is probably not working very well right now. So commercial financing, talked to some commercial brokers that are deals are just coming to a halt, financing's falling apart. There's just a lot of uncertainty there. So and investors may be more likely to use owner financing to get deals done. That's just really an opportunity that I've probably done 4 or 5 over the last year for clients and for myself on transactions. And that's, I think it's a good opportunity really for anyone who wants to keep doing transactions. A lot of times it works out well for the seller and the buyer. So that's something to take a look at. And then if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to your favorite local restaurant. That's another opportunity. I've given out $100 so far for that, so I'll do another 50 this week. And make sure your privacy status is set to where I can see that you've subscribed, or you can just like send me an email and say I subscribed. Either one will work. And yeah, so thank y'all for watching. Y'all stay safe, stay positive, and I will see you next week.